This morning, the deportation fight continues after a case of a man mistakenly deported to El Salvador is being determined.
But a Maryland senator boarding a plane to El Salvador from D.C. is wasting no time to solve the issue. Caplin's Aaliyah Whitney has more on the story.
This is an unsustainable and unjust moment.
Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen in El Salvador, hoping to get eyes on Kilmar Abrigo Garcia, a Maryland man whose deportation has set off a legal and constitutional rights firestorm. His request to the country's vice president went unfulfilled.
He said he was not able to make that happen.
The senator was also denied a phone call with Abrigo Garcia, whose deportation case escalated to the Supreme Court last week, when all 9 justices voted unanimously to uphold a lower federal judge's ruling that the Trump administration worked for Abrigo Garcia's return and access to due process.
The Supreme Court was clear. They must facilitate his release.
It's the use of that word facilitate in the federal judge's ruling, upheld by the Supreme Court, at the center of the Trump administration's argument to leave Abrigo Garcia where he is, suggesting that facilitate means the U.S. won't block his entry if El Salvador decides to release him.
President Bukele said he was not sending him back. If he wanted to send him back, we would give him a plane ride back.
U.S. officials allege Abrigo Garcia is a member of the MS-13 gang. Abrigo Garcia's attorneys dispute that claim. While the judicial fight plays out in the U.S. Senator Van Hollen says his trip is only the beginning.
I may be the first United States senator to visit El Salvador on this issue, but there will be more, and there will be more members of Congress coming.
I'm Aaliyah Whitney reporting with Caplin News.
This morning, a letter emerges from Secretary of State Marco Rubio where he endorses the termination of temporary protective status for 600,000 Venezuelans in the U.S. The Cuban-American politician urged the Biden administration in 2022 to extend TPS, citing the ongoing crisis under strongman Nicolas Maduro's regime. The letter was directed to the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem on January 31st and was revealed during a federal court case where advocacy groups sued to maintain the extension Biden gave Venezuelans in January that the Trump administration had ended.
There's plans for massive cuts to the federal health budget by the Trump administration. This information comes from an internal document that dates April 10th, with CNN reviewing the document. To form a healthy America, dozens of programs would be joined under the newly created administration. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention will also have more than 40% of the budget cut. Chronic disease prevention, gun violence, and minor health are part of the multiple CDC programs being eliminated. Currently, there is no finalized plan and additional changes may occur.
The fate of the Menendez brothers is on the line this morning as they prepare for a resentencing hearing later today. CNN's Amy Kiley has more on the high-profile case.
So there's a very real possibility that Eric and Lyle Menendez are before the parole board in a matter of months.
The Menendez brothers have a chance for eventual freedom as their resentencing hearing begins in Los Angeles this afternoon. Eric and Lyle Menendez are serving life in prison without parole for the high-profile murders of their parents in 1989.
If they get sentenced to something like 50 to life, which is what George Gascon recommended, the brothers would be immediately eligible for parole because they're youthful offenders. And under California law, if you serve half your sentence, or 25 years, you're up for parole.
George Gascon is the former Los Angeles County District Attorney. He says a Netflix documentary helped persuade him to review the case, and that led him to file a motion in support of resentencing. Current DA Nathan Hochman says he disagrees with that motion, but a judge isn't allowing him to withdraw it. Hochman claims the brothers haven't taken full responsibility for the deaths of Jose and Kitty Menendez.
They do not meet the standards for resentencing. They do not meet the standards for rehabilitation.
Family members argue the brothers are rehabilitated. They say the killings were the result of childhood abuse.
And it's about giving people the chance to show who they are now, not just who they were in their worst moment.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.